Other representatives from the continent include leaders from Tunisia, Ethiopia and Nigeria. Other African nations will be keenly watching their discussions with G7 members. CGTN's Angelo Coppola takes a look at some of the expectations from this weekend's summit.
Trade and aid are likely to be hot topics for African leaders in Sicily. In his budget proposal, US President Donald Trump is planning to cut billions in aid. At the same time, African markets are trying to open up and become more accessible.
I believe that Africa has looked for aid for far too long. We must get to a point where our fundamentals, and Africa, as the second fastest growing continent, we have a population bulge, we'll have more young people, we're innovative. We must create intra-trade amongst Africa, and we must contribute to the global GDP.
We're absolutely hoping for more trade, because there's no point in talking about aid ad infinitum. I think that it's time for Africa now. There are about 1.2, 1.4 billion people in this particular continent. Most of the countries have become very stable politically, and I think that there's a huge opportunity for investment. Whether you are talking about infrastructure lines, whether you're talking about the grid lines, in respect of both the generation, transmission and distribution assets that need to be put on the ground.
Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria and Tunisia have been invited to the meeting, but there's a notable exception.
Now, it's a long time since I can remember any group of people looking at trade with Africa and South Africa's name not being on that list. This is quite interesting. It's no longer the prime aim of wanting to do business in Africa through the gateway of South Africa.
The economics are fairly straightforward, according to one industry leader.
Those European countries have reached some kind of stalemate when it comes to the markets that they've been servicing up until now. And Africa, here is the time, is now to build that particular level of capital investment.
The consensus is that it's all about trade and less about aid. And it's about the markets that are sitting on this continent here, and it's about getting capital from those developed countries and investing it here. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.